Oh, yes. Welcome back to another episode of Where the Owls Walk. On this week's episode, we are congratulating Smith as the new hero of Sheffield Wednesday. We're looking back at that amazing Pompey win. We're looking ahead to the next game, which is, of course, Watford. And we are at the end of October now, so we are voting our October player of the month. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a subscribe and a like if you haven't done already. And at the end of this video, we're asking Andrew, Matt, and Glyn to relegate 3 teams from this division. Which 3 fan bases do they dislike the most? I can probably guess which way that conversation's going to go. We're also talking about ticket prices because Watford fans are not very happy about having to pay £36 to travel to watch the game this weekend. So I'll get your views on all of that. First of all, though, Andrew, kick us off this week. Another win for the Mighty Owls.
Yes, what a fight back. Well, at the end of the day, what did I say? I said that I was hoping for 4 points minimum, if not 6, out of the 2 games against Swansea and Portsmouth. It worked out the other way around in the end because we blew it against Swansea, really, not getting the win I was hoping we'd have there. We had to win at Portsmouth, and it was a hard game. We knew Portsmouth would be up for this game. They're no mugs, and they're not guaranteed to go down this season by any shot of the imagination. It was a hard game. First half could have gone either way. They obviously took the lead. We've now kick up the backside at half time. Danny Roll weaved his magic, got the players to work in the second half. And the goals, both goals were scored with absolute quality. Cracking moves, great finishing. Windass and Smith both back, and I prefer them both to Ugbo anyway, as you already know my attitude about Ugbo so far. Both prove they can deliver. What a winning goal that is. That could win any cup final. That could win anything. Absolutely sheer quality. And I hope it's not a one-off. Please, Smith, do it again. Please, Windass, do it again. And Bannon, of course, always creative in the midfield as ever. The defence, great goal line clearance by Valentin, of course, also, which was dangerous at the time for them. They thought they'd scored there as well. And Beadle made saves when necessary. The whole all-round team performance was quality, and onwards and upwards. We are going for it.
Matt, many won't have seen Smith's pull out a goal like that previously. Have you seen him score any better?
God, no. Absolutely not. And I think I am. So, I mean, I will confess I'm not Michael Smith's biggest fan at Championship level. I was a big defender of him at League One, but Championship level, I think that he is, and I think his record has proven in the division previously. I really, with saying all of this, I really hope I'm proved wrong. But he's a bottom 5-6 Championship player because he has always struggled at this level to score goals consistently. But ultimately, it's a cracking strike. 25 yards out. He openly said in his interview afterwards he was too shattered to take a touch. He's hit the ball first time. He's not really had to put too much into the strike either because of the pace that's come back on the ball from Jan Valery. The fact that the ball bobbles into him, I think, helps him in terms of it doesn't help him from a technical standpoint, but it actually helps him to kind of like get the whip and the bend on it. It starts so far outside the right hand upright. And brings it back in. Always looks better when the keeper's at full stretch as well. I know Portsmouth were onto it's their 3rd choice keeper, obviously, on Friday night. It doesn't matter. You could have all 3 keepers in, they're not saving it. It is an absolutely sublime strike. And I am really pleased for him, and I'm pleased that Michael Smith and somebody actually, not just Michael Smith, but somebody has put their hand up and said, actually, for the next run of games, I actually deserve a start. Because I know people aren't a massive fan of XG. He has the highest XG at Sheffield Wednesday. I would argue from kind of expected goals from a striker at Sheffield Wednesday, I would argue it's because he's coming into games late, and obviously you get more opportunities there as teams are slower. But ultimately, you can't take the finish away, and you can't take the assist for the equaliser away. 2 really good bits of football, and I thought he grew into the game on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Glyn. Here's some social media takes. You knew they were coming. Nathan says, what a performance from Michael Smith. Bloke never stopped running. He was on his backside on the halfway line when Valery received the ball for his goal. Great comeback. He said it was Cisco ball first half, but roll ball second half. Do you understand that analogy?
A little bit, to be quite honest. I want to take nothing away from the win whatsoever, but we were playing a team that are already in survival mode. The high on injuries, they've had to pull back the 3rd choice goalkeeper back in off a loan. I feel as though we should have dominated them. That said, we were fighting for his lives at the end of last season, and we were beating teams coming to Hillsborough and also away. So when you're in that mindset, you do fight for your lives. And I agree with what Andrew said. It was a very tough first half. I agree with Matt about Smith completely. That said, I do feel that he's upped his game. I feel that he's wanting the shirt over the other strikers as well. But for me, it's got to be a consistency thing, and he quite openly said, like Matt's just said, that he was really tired. And that's the level of expectation at the Championship. You've got to be able to put that performance in week out. And can he do it? I hope he can. Because he works hard. He works hard when he's on the pitch, and I think he's turned the corner slightly in this season, especially. I think he's got a lot fitter. He's making himself a lot more available. But can he do that consistently week in, week out? Only time will tell. We'll see.
As I said last time, he was the only one who looked like scoring against Swansea. A couple of those headers, which he missed, but at least he was trying. At least he was dangerous, and he was there. And he's working his socks off. He really has.
Can I ask all of you? Are you turning into a second half team a little bit though? Because second half against Swansea, you were improved and much the better. Same again here. I remember the Leeds game as well when we watched that on a Friday night. You were awful first half, but second half was much better. What is it about being a slow starters? Is it a concern for you that you come out after half time much improved? Should we see the same intensity in the first half?
It depends how we played in the first half. Don't forget, we have played well in the first half against Plymouth and against West Brom. Depends how we play, and also against QPR. I think Danny Rowell, obviously, he has to do the business at half time. If we're not doing as well as we should be in the first half time is when he gets into them. And obviously, it does make a difference. They come out and they perform. So I think he's doing something where he's doing a lot correct. He's been doing everything correct from the word go. But he's influential, and I think the players are reacting to his requests at half time, how to change things around or whatever when necessary.
Yeah, there's no doubting there's great coaching going on at half time, isn't there? But what's happening that's meaning the first half of games are a little bit flat?
I think there's some truth in it, Mark. I'll be honest with you. I do think there's some truth in the statement that we are arguably a more consistent, or you see more of the true form of what the actual players are capable. I would argue it's probably to do with a combination of both coaching and players not being able to quite figure out the game plan of the opposition. I think the first 5 to 10 minutes of games consistently, it's very clear that the players tried to carry it, and that was even evident on no matter how bad the first half was against Portsmouth on Friday. The first 5 to 10 minutes we were actually okay against Portsmouth, and then Portsmouth start to get a foothold in the game. And often I find at the minute it's where a side builds into the game and they get a foothold in the game, and we struggle to wrestle that control back off them in the first half, and it takes us almost getting through to half time to be able to make the tactical adjustments that are necessary to put us back in a dominant position. I mean, you mentioned, and Andrew, you mentioned Swansea on the 6 days ago last week on the Tuesday night. Realistically, we had 2 or 3 chances in that game to go and win it, but they dominated the ball for the large spell of it, and we just couldn't get to grips with, realistically, for a large portions of the first half, actually how to get the ball back off them and how to start dictating some of the play ourselves. Coventry, you would argue the same as well. It took us going 1-0 down at Coventry before we actually started playing as well. I do take the point. I do think there's some truth in it, but again, I would suggest it's probably, I don't want to question the coaching capability, because I think the coach is quite good, but I would suggest it's also down to the player ability as well to make those in-game adjustments and those in-game decisions. And it probably does take 20 minutes at a half-time for a coach to actually get into, on the whole, that squad and say, this is what you need to do, rather than just them being able to figure it out on the pitch, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. All right. A couple for you, Glenn, to check on here as again, social media wise. Phil says we're much better second half, but do not start Musaba again. I'll come back to you on that one. Bish Bosh says second half was largely better, but what exactly does Jamal Lowe contribute to the team? He's a baffling signing. He reminds me of Mugagan. So let's start with Musaba first, shall we, Glenn?
Musaba's fantastic in straight lines, isn't he? It's quick, and if you give him the ball, he'll try and take on the same player 14 times before he gets a pass off. I think that's the frustrating thing about him. To be fair, but listen, is young and is still learning his trade. Is out there. His championship level is a good player. He needs to slow it down a little bit. Look for the absolutely. If that's your game, take the man on and look for the pass. But he's like I say, well, I think we need stop signs in the stands a bit Forrest Gump, like running stop, turn, pass, whatever. But no, regarding starting him, I like him, to be honest. I think he needs the game time. He needs the experience. I'd certainly play him. He's one for the starting lineup for me. But like I say, he just needs to relax a little bit. And I think when he gets more used to the championship level of style of play and gets a little bit older and a little bit stronger, he'll come good. So it's a time thing. He's still young and he's still hungry. He wants to impress, I think.
Okay. What about Jamal Lowe then, Andrew?
Well, verdict's out on him, isn't it? We were expecting better things, I think, from him than what we've actually seen. Again, have to give him time to see if he can sort of prove himself. It's going to be competitive for the places there. He's not an automatic selection, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm not going to say that he's a waste of space or he's not delivering and he should be kept out of it at things for the time being. I'll say that he still needs to prove himself and see it as and when we can actually perform to the expectations we had for him when we first sort of brought him into the team, really.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Let's talk about Watford then, shall we? Our next game back at home this weekend. Before we talk about the footballing side, the ticket price that you're charging Watford fans is £36. Compare that to the £20 they're paying to go to Swansea 5 days later. Okay, come on, explain yourselves. Watford aren't a massive club. They're not going to bring loads. Why not just charge them 20 quid?
Because we don't charge our own fans 20 quid, Mark. And just while we're here, Mark, also, just while we're throwing shade at ticket prices at Sheffield Wednesday, it's cost me 46 quid to go to Bramall Lane 2 weeks on Sunday. So again, I understand that that's a derby. Realistically, we have overcharged both our fans and away fans for a number of seasons. Our chairman has justified it by the basis of you pay top dollar, you'll get top players. Now, we all know that's total lies in terms of like the quality that we've had. But realistically, as a chairman, if you have looked at it and realised that people will consistently pay it, why wouldn't you carry on doing it? Like, I don't agree with it, like flat out, and I'm not trying to justify it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just, this sounds horrible. I am quite sick of hearing away fans whinge at it because we as home fans get treated to it, and also, let's be honest, it gets reciprocated away from home. Like, we are, again, consistently, alongside, I would imagine, us, Leeds, Sunderland, we are charged typically the most of any other championship club who rocks up at the ground because they know they'll sell out. They know that we're irrespective of, you could, please don't, but you could charge 60 quid and Wednesday fans would still find a way by hook or by crook of paying it. Like, it just is what it is. Like, if I see a ticket price for an away game at 20 to £25, I am staggered and floored as a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Sadly, it's just the way of modern football.
Cup game price, isn't it?
I don't know what Watford are complaining about. I first saw us playing them at Hillsborough back in the early 70s, and they only brought one coach load, if that. So I don't think they'd even be there in the numbers in the first place. Yeah,
I think that's their point, is that fair enough charging £36 for an away fan if you're going to sell out that stand, because fair enough, but they're not. But anyway, well answered as always. Thank you, Matthew. Moving on to Watford itself, then, as a club, they've got a terrible away record. Glenn, this should be 3 points, shouldn't it?
Should be, could be, would be,
the table, and we've got to just try and go above them and try and get as close to Sheffield United as possible, as I said to you 2 weeks ago, before the big crunch game on the 10th of November. And so this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity we've got to go for, and we have every chance of winning it, obviously.
Thanks, Glenn.
Did you enjoy that, Andrew?
Yeah, no, it's okay. Glenn, does he start the same 11 that finished the Portsmouth game?
I don't think he will. Purposely rest legs. To man, just say we've got the cup, haven't we, tomorrow? I think he'll go with a relaxed team tomorrow, but I'm not sure if he will. To be fair, it depends who's injured, who's available. I know Valentin. I think he's got to miss a game. I think he's banned for one, whether that's cup or league. I'm not 100% sure, but
for Mayo as well, Glenn.
Yeah, for Mayo, he's injured. Yeah, who's been quality, so we've got to backfill there. But I don't really ever have an opinion on starting 11s. To be fair, Mark, I let Danny do his thing, and I trust him 100%. So if he wants to go here back 5, back 6, back 2, whatever he wants to do, I'll think, well, he's doing that for a reason. So, but as like we just mentioned, I'd certainly start Smith because he's worked hard for that position, and for me, I feel like he's earned that shirt. So he's the first one in the squad for me.
Okay, all right. This is significant because it is the reverse of the last day of the season fixtures. So Matt, when May rolls around and we are saying our goodbyes to each other for 3 months, what do you expect to be on this reverse fixture when you travel to Watford on your £36 ticket?
Well, aside from not the last time that I went to Watford, but the previous one, it was the one where we stopped them winning the title with an Ati Nuhiu winner. And Bournemouth fans, every year where it rolls round, you always end up in Sheffield on the Sheffield Wednesday hashtag thanking Ati Nuhiu again. What do I expect to be on it? From our perspective, I hope we've had 6 games on the beach with the slippers on, and there's absolutely nothing on it, and it's a party. From Watford's perspective, I'll be honest, I imagine it to be exactly the same. I think I don't know, and obviously I know the Watford fans and the podcast that you do with them will be obviously more clear on that. The Pozzo family from a distance look to have lost interest in Watford and look to be letting them drift, or looking to try and kind of, like, I suppose, stabilise and rebuild in a couple of years when they've taken their eye off one of their other several kind of like irons that they have in the fire. Ultimately, I would imagine that when this rolls back around, this is 2 mid-table teams playing out one of those mental games, Mark, that comes at the end of the season where everybody turns up and goes, this will be 0-0. And then before you know it, both are in a dogfight and it finishes 4-4. Yeah, I just don't think there'll be much on it come the end of the season.
No,
I think we're a quarter of the season. No, sorry, Andrea. I think we're a quarter of the season in now. I think you've seen exactly what Sheffield Wednesday are. We'll win some games, we'll lose some games, we'll draw some games. I think that's unless I will again. It's not going to happen.
We'll see.
Unless
We'll
there's
see
major investment.
We'll see who's going to be right. I said to you at the start of the season, I expect Burnley and Sunderland to both go up. And I said it could be anyone out of about 16 teams who get into the playoffs. Anyone, and that includes us. And it includes Watford. Anyone out of 16. You can't say Leeds or Sheffield United are over and above us for sure. I won't buy that at all. I won't buy it.
Okay. All right. Of course, on this channel next week, we will have a Sheffield United fan with us joining our fray to preview, of course, the big derby game the following week. So look forward to that. Before we do that, though, we've got to get to a player of the month out of each of you. Nice and brief if you can. Glyn?
I asked my daughter for this one, and it has to be Paul Valentin.
Matt?
Oh, I get him this month. Shea Charles. I was going to go Akin for Mayweather because I thought, Glyn, you were going to take him, but Shea Charles.
Yeah.
It'll be Shea. Mark, I'll just save you asking me this question ever again. Is Shea Charles until the end of the season?
Every single month. Okay, yeah. Andrew?
And I'm going to go for the obvious one. For me, Michael Smith. I think he's the reason why we got those 3 crucial points at Portsmouth. He made the goal, he scored the goal, and after the disappointments of Burnley and Swansea, thanks to him, instead of being near the bottom 6, we are nearer the top 6.
Okay, 3 good shouts there. Can you do any better? Drop them into the comments below. And of course, before we let you go, we are asking all our teams this week, which 3 clubs get on your nerves the most and you'd like to see the back of. Andrew, which 3 teams, fan bases can you not stand?
It's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. Obviously, I'd love to see Sheffield United go down, Leeds go down, but it's not going to happen. We know they're going to be sniffing around in that top 6 fight, bun fight.
Play the game, Andrew. Which 3 teams do you want to get rid of?
Yeah, but I can't get rid of them, can I? I could say them, but they ain't going anywhere. Okay, Sheffield United and Leeds, and then one more. Who else would I like out? Luton. They annoy me.
Okay. It's funny how often they come up. Matt, for you?
I can't say Sheffield United 3 times, can I, Mark?
Well, actually, one of the United fans did say Wednesday, so you could.
Yeah,
you
it's
could, yeah.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I know I'll be incredibly cordial and very nice next time we're recording with a Sheffield United fan on, but they could get liquidated tomorrow and I'll be happy.
Glyn.
Just to echo everybody else, really, Leeds, Sheffield United, and Derby. We owe Derby a relegation, don't we? So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, good shouts. And put your comments below as to who you would like to liquidate, so to speak. We'll see you next week as we preview. It's finally here. It'll be Derby preview next week. Sheffield Wednesday travelling to Sheffield United.
Bring
it
on.
on. See you next week.